775 standing in front of the latest Sinclair Sky Rack 2.0 that we just finished up here. We have really enjoyed using these ground mounts. They have been fantastic, and we've gone through a lot of different manufacturers, a lot of different ground mounts, but this is probably the strongest and the most affordable, best looking ground mount out on the market. The reason I'm shooting this video is actually as an intro to the video you're about to see from Sinclair. So we have a lot of DIY customers, a lot of installers that get Sinclair. Some get it directly from us. Some come pick it up from our place at Practical Preppers. So if you're one of those folks, you're welcome to come to South Carolina and pick it up, and we'll put together a kit for you, panels, hardware, clamps, you name it, and even right down to the disconnect if you need that too. This video will explain a lot about the Sinclair 2.0 ground mount. You will see them pounding the posts in as I do now, but when we started we just used an excavator to dig the holes, or an auger. So you do not have to pound the posts. You can definitely put them in concrete. Just takes a couple more days, but if it's for do-it-yourself, there's no sense spending that kind of money on a driver. So anyway, here's this great video that Kyle Sinclair and the group up in Michigan put together for you, and just wanted to pass it along.
So what we're going to do now is we're going to make a reference line on this post that we're pounding. I set up the laser, I got a reference mark on one of the other posts. It's about 9 inches down from a set of holes we have in each of the posts. So I'm going to measure that out, take make my mark, and then that way once we get to the same elevation with that mark as our laser is hitting, we're going to know that we're within about 1/8 of an inch of hitting the top of post with all the rest of the posts. As we get a little bit closer, I'm going to put our sensor up. It's going to hit our reference line, and once that laser line matches the line that I marked on the post, we'll know that we're at the same elevation. Come on down, about 1 inch. One more. Oh, right there.
Hi, this is going to be a quick description of our posts. The type of steel we use is a galvanized G90 minimum with 10 gauge thickness for strength and stability. Formed into a 4x7 C channel is standard. We also do offer a 4x9 C channel for extra stability and strength when necessary. Mounting holes for struts for the fixed tilt systems. These are mounting holes for the seasonal adjust systems. As we work our way on up the post, we see that we have a 6-hole pattern up at the top. That will help with adjustability if for some reason the post is driven a little too deep or a little too shallow. The system has 1.25 inch easy adjustments up or down for connection purposes.
Couple quick installation methods for our system. We have 2 types of ground mount systems. We have a fixed tilt system and a season adjustable system. For the fixed tilt, we punch specific holes for odd and even angles. So our odd angles are 5, 25, and 35. Our even angles are 10, 20, and 30. It's very important that you look at the installation manual, because depending on your angle, that defines which way the flat side of the post is facing. If you're going to do an even angle, the flat side of the post needs to face to the east for your fixed tilts. If you're going to do an odd angle, the flat side needs to face to the west. The other option is our season adjust, which we have installed right here. So this is a season adjustable jack, which only requires you to install one 5/8 bolt, which acts as a center pivot point. This jack will adjust from 15 to 60 degrees.
Let's take a look at our Z-rails and what some of these extra holes might be for. Well, here you see that there's a pair of slotted holes. These are the width for truss mounting. These allow you a plus or minus 3-inch adjustment with your truss. So say you happen to hit a little rock and your post deflects a little bit and your truss doesn't line up perfectly, you have this much of a range to play with. As we continue down, we also have extra holes punched in for, say, you drive down and we hit a stone where we can't complete the drive of the post. We have the flexibility to be able to move the post a little bit one way or another, or we can realign the truss with one of these holes for mounting. One of our biggest difficulties with installs is, especially for DIYers, is that when it comes to overlapping purlins, they end up overlapping too far. We do have 2 pairs of holes on the purlins, and most people will try to overlap both pair of holes, 4-inch overlap. Please check the install manual. That is not how it works. You only have to overlap the first set of holes to give you a 2-inch overlap. Otherwise, your progression is not going to come out correctly. And then as we move down further, we can see the actual slots that are put in for the truss, where you can see the adjustability for where the truss is mounted to the Z-purlin. Say you get to the end of your array and you realize, you know, I really could use a couple of extra panels at the end of my system, but I really don't want to have to invest in extra posts and trusses. You don't have to. You can purchase cantilevers from us, which will bolt onto the end of your purlins as they stand and give you enough support for an extra row of panels. Now, one nice feature here, we had talked in the purlin section about the 2-inch overlap. Here, we do the full 4-inch overlap. Instead of just going the single hole, we actually do go to the second pair of holes and drive bolts in both pairs of holes for the extra stability for a cantilever. This will allow you the extra couple panels that you're looking for your power output.
All right, so we're going to take a closer look at our season adjustable jack that gets attached to the system. One of the things to take note of is that when you're making a drastic change in tilt angle, you want to loosen up this bottom bolt that's connected to the post. If you loosen that up, the jack will be allowed to pivot just enough to kind of make those drastic angle changes. Once you get to the angle that you want, tighten that right back up. Another thing to take note of is that the handles on the season adjustable jacks can be twisted all the way around and locked into place so that it doesn't backdrive in a high wind load. Something else to take note of is that if you have multiple posts, you can adjust the system in one of 2 ways. You can get one person on each post and adjust the system all at the same time. Or if you're by yourself, you can go to each post individually, make about a 5-degree change, crank it maybe 5 to 6, 7 twists, stop, go to the next one, make a change at that post, and go on down the system. You don't want to put too much torque on the system by adjusting too far on one post in a single drive. So a few things to point out with the Skyrack 2.0. A few of the advantages that we have from an engineering standpoint is all of the adjustability, all the different options that we can offer for the system. From a foundation standpoint, we can either drive posts, which is what we kind of prefer to do. We also have a 2-foot diameter concrete footer is an option, which a lot of the DIY folks that call us are still using. And then if you're hitting rock or something of that nature, you're not able to pound posts, you've got a rockier project site, things like that. We also offer a ballasted option, which is a large concrete block that sits right on top of the ground. So that's kind of what we got from a foundation standpoint. From a tilt angle standpoint, we've got our fixed tilt. You can go anywhere from 15 to 35 degrees, but then we also have the season adjustable option where you can tilt anywhere from 15 to 60 degrees. What's kind of nice about that is, say you're in an area with a high wind load or an area with a high snow load. If we adjust your tilt angle just a little bit, we can reduce those snow loads by tilting the system higher so that those snow loads are no longer as much of, have as much of an effect. In a high wind load area, we can reduce that tilt angle so that your wind loads are not as high on the system because the vertical profile is not as large. The other options that we have some different components that we can throw into the system. We have a larger post if we need it. We have a larger truss if we need it, things like that. So we can accommodate just about any system. It's pretty rare that we come into a situation where we have a high snow load and a high wind load. It has happened before, but so far there's not been a situation where we couldn't accommodate the customer. Typically, if we get an order, if I'm designing the system and I don't have any information on the soil capacities, parameters for that location, I've got to use the minimums out of the code. So I will design it for the minimums. But one thing when we're doing larger projects, we can go out, deploy our team, and offer a push-pull test. And what we do for those is we will pound several posts into the ground at an estimated embedment depth, and then we will do a lateral and a vertical pull on those posts to see what types of capacities and what type of resistance the soil is providing for us at that location. That will often reduce the embedment length, and it will end up saving the customer money, especially on 1, 2, 3 megawatt projects. All of those posts that you're saving money on more than pays for what you're spending on a pull test.
So this wraps up our demonstration. Thank you guys for watching this video, and hopefully you guys learned something from this. If you have any questions, give us a shout.